Hello, it's George from Australia, and welcome to Gaming My Whole Life, where I discuss everything video game related, past, present, and future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely a past video because we are reviewing a game that came out on this, my lovely SEGA Mega Drive 2 16-bit. That was obviously a big deal back then, but I started playing Golden Axe. Now, Golden Axe is a fan favorite. It is a classic. If you're a retro gamer whatsoever, there's a very good chance you know about this game, you've played it, or at the very least, you've heard of it. So what me and my fiance did is we decided we'll go ahead, we will play it. We have one of those SEGA game collections that you can get on Steam, you can get on the PlayStation, the Xbox, like it's everywhere. Has all the Golden Axe games on there. We started to replay the first one, and honestly, we are so quite impressed with how good it holds up. So you know what, let's put a fun video together. Even though the game isn't perfect, I have to say the mechanics, they're simple but they work, and the fact that the game is so challenging is what I feel really adds to it. Now, I'm not talking Dark Souls challenge, I'm not talking unfair challenge, but the game wouldn't be the same if it was a walk in the park. So the mechanics for Golden Axe is quite simple. You pick one of three characters, each one of them with different strengths, different weaknesses, different visual appearances and animations. It is a 2D brawler. You can move up and down on the screen, you can jump, you have a single base attack, and you also have the ability to use magic. So you have a dwarf guy, you have a big muscly man, and you have a woman who focuses on magic, right? Each one of them has their own thing. So the woman has the best magic, the best spells, like by far much higher than what the men can bring. However, she can take less physical damage. So if you get hit a lot, it will really hurt, but her magic is far beyond anyone. The guy in the blue underwear, like, this is the best way to describe him. The guy in the blue underwear, he is the best middleman. So, he has his magic, but nothing too crazy. And he has a little bit of strength. He can take a bit of a hit, which is really handy. And then you also have the dwarf guy with his axe. He is the toughest. His magic is very limited, very weak. But you know what? Frankly, he doesn't need the magic. He can just go beat everyone up. And my fiance played as him, and she lasted a lot longer in the game than me. She did a much better job. So this is a 3-button game. You have your jump button, you have your attack button, and you have your magic button. So we'll go over the basics. You have your jump. It's just like Streets of Rage. If you play those old 2D beat 'em up games, or if you checked out my previous video talking about Streets of Rage 4 to be more specific, is you would have the one attack animation, right? So they'll normally just swing their weapon and nothing happens, like a very boring animation. However, if you do that and you hit another enemy, then one animation leads to another, and then you get a combo. Things can be, spiced up a little bit because you have a charge ability. So by double tapping twice in a certain direction, you can run. And if you press the attack button while you're charging, then you do your launch attack. Now, surprisingly, this is arguably like the most effective and strongest attack in the game, because if you charge and you do that, you almost always, depending on the size of the enemy, send them flying. It's really good for getting them, off guard, and they can charge back at you, which is also very interesting as well. Where the game separates itself is all about the magic. This is where it leaves any possible resemblance to, Streets of Rage or any other 2D beat 'em up. The magic is absolutely amazing. So while you play, you find these little blue potion things, right? And they give you mana, they give you magic. And what's interesting about this is the more magic you have, the better the spell and the different the spell is. So as I mentioned, you have a magic button, right? And you have sockets for it, you have slots. So if you have one magic spell in your slot and you press the magic button, then you do a spell. Maybe some light fireballs can come fill up the screen. Maybe there'll be a little bit of electricity or random explosions. Like, okay, cool. And then you go ahead and you collect more magic, and then you have bigger explosions, and if you collect even more magic above that, then you'll get completely different magic spells, to the point which if you get all the magic for the girl, you get this white dragon of death just fill up the screen, and it's really, really cool. What's interesting about the mechanic though is the moment you use a spell, you use up everything. So if you have like 6 mana spells that you've been using, you better be darn sure you want to use it before you press that button, because you can never use a bit of it. You can't use a bit, it's all or nothing. So it adds this wonderfully unique dynamic, which I haven't really experienced in any other game, where you really think about, should I use it now? Should I save it? If you've stored up too much magic potions, then you can't collect any more. And there's just enough little things that are added to the game to keep it a little bit interesting, even though it's just its first entry. So you can get rides, you can find the enemy come at you with these different beasts, with these different dragons. And if you knock them off their beast, normally by doing a charge move, then you can take the beast for yourself, which is fun. As I mentioned, it's also very easy to die, so you end up trying to be a lot more strategic than you would expect. So you're on a plane, you can go up and down, as I said, right? Now, if you're in a clear direction, if you're just standing there and the enemy is on the other side, they'll normally charge at you. So you're continuously trying to move up and down so you're not on the same level as them, because you can only hit each other when you go on the level. So strategically, you'll try to go ahead and you maybe try to follow them, go down and attack and go back up, and you can take advantage. You can feel safe knowing, unless you're on the same plane, you're not going to be able to get hit, but they do a good job chasing you down. Music is just wonderful. Don't really have that much more to add to that. It feels magical, it feels retro, it just has a good system. Now, multiplayer is where this game really shines, in my opinion. You play this with someone else. Obviously, this is an old game, so you'd play sitting right beside each other. Friendly fire is on. Friendly fire is on, I know, because me and my fiance kept hitting each other instead of the enemy, so we had to learn to take a step back and to stop hurting each other. But you can help each other out, you can gang up on them, they can gang up on you. You're trying to negotiate, should I use my magic, should you get the magic, I'll go pick up that potion, I have more than you. So this is an editor's note, because my lovely fiance reminded me, while we were playing, we got really far in the game, and she had one bit of health. All I had to do was keep away. I just need to keep my distance, let her survive. She had this. I thought I would help and run and Sparta kick, and I killed her. She didn't hold that against me. This isn't her doing. But mentally, I really like the idea that you have 3 different characters to go ahead and play with. Like, I really enjoy playing any game which I know while I'm playing it, whenever I finish it, I then have other characters to go ahead and play with. That's always been a really strong appeal to me because, as a gamer, someone who's been doing it for so long, for me, there's nothing worse than finishing a game. It's like finishing a good book. You want to find the end, but once it's over, it's over. It's actually really hard to deal with. But if you're enjoying a game and you're playing as the dwarf, underwear man, underwear woman, whatever, you're playing with anyone, and as much as you're enjoying it and as much as you suspect you're near the end, knowing that even if the end does come, you have 2 whole characters to re-experience the whole thing again, that's really great. Another nice, really strategic part about Golden Axe is the fact that when you use the said spells, right, no matter how it looks, no matter how powerful or weak it is, it affects everyone on screen. So then you can strategically decide, right, I'm going to wait until there's a lot of enemies on the screen. Also, if the enemies are on rides or whatever, even if you use the weakest magic spell, you will knock them off the ride, which is a huge advantage. Now, as far as the aging process goes, this is Golden Axe 1, there's a Golden Axe 2, there's a Golden Axe 3, and frankly, I think I'll review them all. But as far as how well does the first one hold up, there is certain areas which it hasn't aged well. I have to be fair, I still highly recommend the game if you have one of these SEGA collections or you have, the original game, like go ahead, and replay it. It's still good fun. But there is definitely areas which, it needs improvement. So for example, as I said, you have the option of going, hitting them. If you make contact with them, you do a little combo, and you also have the charge move. That being said, it can become really repetitive because during the harder areas, you'll just find yourself simply spamming the charge button and always doing the exact same charge animation. So if you're Mr. Underwear Man, you charge, you do a really cool hip and shoulder. If you're the girl and you charge, you do like a fly kick, and I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember what the dwarf does, but they all have that one animation. So often I'd find myself playing where I'm moving down the screen, kick, I'm just continuously charging back and forth, knocking them down. And also when their bodies get knocked down on the floor, you can't continue to weigh on them, right? So if you knock them down on the ground, you need to wait for them to get back up. Also, can we talk about these guys, these blue little weird chipmunks with like human faces that steal your magic in the first place? What are these squirrel wannabe? What are they? They're freaky. They're freaky. They're weird. They steal your stuff. They're like cute and terrifying at the same time. I don't know if they're adorable or if I'm disgusted. Fun fact, I actually won this in a recycling competition. BP in Australia had a recycling competition where every time you recycled, you got an entry into a competition. I actually wanted to win a SEGA Saturn. That was first place, but I got second place instead, and I'm not upset. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know down below in the comment section, have you played Golden Axe before? How do you feel about it? Was it part of your childhood like it was mine? Are you a full-grown adult and you went back after the fact to play? You're like, hey, this isn't actually too bad. Show this channel some love. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know below also if you would like to see another follow-up video. I'm seriously considering, just for comparison's sake, my retro heart is very curious. I wonder how Golden Axe 2 improves on the first. And then when I'm done with Golden Axe 2 and have done a review for that, how does Golden Axe 3 hold up? I'm curious, I don't know about you. Also, who is the enemy you hate the most in Golden Axe? For me, hands down, don't even need to think about it. So those freaking skeletons. Those freaking skeletons, they hit you a couple times, then they get their shield, they bash you with the shield, and then, you know, to add insult to injury, then they kick you over. They do heaps of damage. Those combos are ruthless. They're the ones I hate the most. Let me know which one you hate the most. With that being said, you lovely, lovely ladies and gentlemen, God bless you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are on this big blue planet of ours. And yeah, I'll see you all for my next video. Bye-bye.